We're live. Okay, so my buddy, my homie, my bro. I was gonna about to say Mandala, but he's a freaking Tuhon now. Tuhon Rob Pagan. Once in a while, he'll call me up, and sometimes I'll pick up. Sometimes I don't because I'm like, oh frick, I'm filming right now, and I know whenever I get in a conversation with Tuhon Rob, it's gonna be about some shit, man. It's gonna be about some high level stuff, and we're gonna have a little argument. Um, but he called me and we started talking, and then I'm like, you know what, screw it, let's go live. So before I do that, oh crap balls, okay, hold on, I'm gonna bring him on right now real quick. There he is. What's
Hey,
up, bro?
hey, what's happening, dude?
Nothing much. How are you?
I'm good. I miss you, man. How you been?
Yeah, I miss you too.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we have a good time when we're together.
yeah, we
Get
do.
our blades out,
Yeah.
get some tacos going.
Oh man,
Usually,
I miss Cookie for that. You did say my tacos were the number one, second to Tijuana.
yeah, best tacos I ever had next to the ones that I actually got in Tijuana. But yeah, man, you know what? I like discussing Pekiti Tirsia with you.
Thanks, man.
I
Thank you.
do. I
Oh,
do. I think you move extraordinarily well as a Pekiti Tertian. I think you embody the teachings of Grand Tuhon Leo Gahe in a way that I would say it's unlike anybody else.
yeah, almost up. Yeah, I most
Yeah.
up.
Humility aside and all. No. No, but you move really well. And sometimes I rag on you because I'm like, the way you explain things sometimes isn't as clear as it could be. You know what I mean? Sometimes you talk in riddles, and sometimes,
Yeah,
you talk in very much the same way that GT talks, but your movement's undeniable, you know?
and I strongly suggest, or to any students are out there, if you're gonna have a teacher, by all means, please don't reflect his what he says. Try to interpolate in your mind how can I translate that. Don't do the oh non oh
You
wow.
know,
You know,
you even talk like GT sometimes. When here's something I don't know if you notice this, but you go like this. Okay, so we do this, huh? You add that, huh? You do
um,
this, right? You cut, huh? What's this, huh? Boom. You even talk like GT. But anyway, your movement is friggin' inspiring. And we got to talking because you released a video, right? We're
yeah,
gonna we're gonna play that video for you guys.
yeah,
Um, and then I was like, you know what? I watched this video that I'm about to share. I watched it from two lenses. The first lens is an uneducated lens, your typical, just maybe troll, maybe somebody who immediately looks for the negative whenever they see a demonstration. And I told you, here are the holes in that movement. It's this, and that. Then
mhm,
before we went on to discussion, I was like, okay, but I also viewed it from a more analytical and a higher plane, and that's kind of where this discussion um, led to. But why did you even call me today? I don't know. Start with
okay,
that. Why'd you call me?
because I
Call me.
miss you. Yeah, you're my bro. I'm your friend. What brothers do, like see how you doing, you know,
Yeah. Hey, what
and
do you think of my recent work, man? I've been releasing a lot of stuff on Instagram.
I'm gonna tell you, since I've
Pretty
known
good, right?
you, since 19, when we first met and up till now.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. Like Benjamin Franklin when he was flying the kite and then lightning with the key, and he just like,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he just starts doing miraculous things.
Yeah.
Your context just went off the roof, like the way with your knife. I mean, you're like going ballistic missile with your knife, doing this exploration with the art in the platform of doing, and it's
Yeah.
just off the roof. I never seen the context and all these catalogs and the bullets you're putting in with the knife methodology you're going in, and I was just like, holy man, this guy is like did he just like went over this plateau and actually just solved the riddle or something? You know, it's just like, it's amazing. Your context is I have never seen anybody put articulated context on this planet like you.
I appreciate that. You know, I think I don't know if it was a lightning strike. I think
Yeah.
it's more of a process. Sorry, go on.
And one other person too is Scott Babba Libre. You know, like you both are great context and content creators, but your context on the other hand with your knife, which you've been doing, it's been like, what else this man cannot do better, you know? And it's like you're always pushing, and you got these other great teachers out there that can show their skills off and do their skills, which is fine. And try to sell by the skills on the platform. But when it comes to context and dialogue, you, bro, man.
Bro, I appreciate that. You know, I think if I can step outside of myself and kind of analyze what it is that I'm trying to do, I'm not trying to sell the efficacy or the effectiveness or the combat applicability of the things that I do. I just show a process that I think is super fucking dope.
Which is amazing. That's an awesome journey, which you're not. Yeah.
And like I released a video the other day and it was like, look, for all intents and purposes, consider everything I do as a performance, as an art, because for me to say this is applicable or this has, you know, value as far as self-defense, that would require me understanding you. And I don't understand, not you, but like the people who are watching my stuff. And oftentimes I'll create a piece of content and I'll get people who get it. I'll get people who hate it. They're like, oh, that'll never work on the street. And then there are the curious, like, hey, to what degree is this applicable?
Right.
And I always say it's just art. For me, it's just art. And you can't really learn anything from watching an Instagram video while you're taking a shit. I mean, that's like, it's like watching a trailer and claiming you know the movie. That makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but what I do have is a body of work and a kind of experience that allows me to perpetually ask questions and to give parameters for exploration. Like, you know me, I'm a big Sabayan guy. That's practically all I ever do is Sabayan.
Which I have never seen anybody go more in depth than Sabayan.
Sabayan's the shit, man. You can do anything with Sabayan. I'm pretty sure I can make like instant noodles with Sabayan, bro. But in any case, my context is purely that. And I think the cool thing about Pekiti Tirsia is that there are like super articulate people who know the system in and out and can articulate it at a high level. Then there are those who can simplify it so that it's digestible. And then there are people who are maybe a mixture of both. And then there are people who just fucking move. And it's like watching you move, right? Maybe the words that you use and the way that you articulate it, for me, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But when I see you move and then I apply my own ability to see what the hell is happening, then it's like, this is a high level dude. Yeah, it's unquestionable to me. But sometimes I think the metric that a lot of people place upon the value of a Pekiti Tirsia, of a Pekiti Tirsian, is how well they can, you know, teach or how well they can write or how organized they've been with the curation of this vast wealth of information. I just think, just like intelligence takes on many forms, high-level Pekiti Tirsians take on many forms. What do you think about that?
No, I that's absolutely agree. I mean, if I'll just take this little notch back. If through the teachings of GT, you know, he wasn't the best at all when it comes to articulating and everything, right? Because
I don't think he's very good at that at all.
Well, for one thing on that is because he doesn't spoon feed. He's not going to give you the answer.
That's right.
Right. So so he does what we call a thought-provoking process.
Yeah.
Guru Danny Santo does the same thing. If you've been in seminars, he will water hose the heck out of you. he won't articulate it. He won't give in context, but he'll tell you what this is what it is.
Yeah.
And then people will look at the movements and try to, do the best they can and write notes,
Right.
And for me, that's the high level right there. Like the people that teach that way, like that, because they want it, they just, that's what they do. That's for me, when I teach students, right, in a seminar, I perform at a high level because I want them to think. I want them to like, wow, okay, and then kind of push their brain a little bit. If they can give 5 techniques or something out of a 4-hour seminar, great.
Yeah.
But it really probes their mind. Like what you just said right now. I will go back, I will look at it, and I'll say, okay, maybe I will do something. I mean, now with technology, you don't have to write notes. You can film the thing if seminars are allowed to film.
Yeah.
But
yo, you should grab a Ginun thing or something, because I got a question about one of those fucking crazy things that you do. You do this thing, and it's you and Tuhon Jack probably do it better than anyone. Oh shoot, my son's calling me. Damn it. Okay, it's I'll call him right back. He's 15. He's a boy. He can use some adversity. You're doing like blah 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 blah, and then you do this thing where you kind of push it and you kind of guide it, and it like the velocity of that sword just goes into hyperdrive. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's like a fucking sword, and it's a sharp sword. Don't get a sharp sword. Go get a trainer. But when you're like doing all of these, by the way, directional changes on the fly, and then all of a sudden you do something like this, and then you accelerate it. It just looks beautiful. Can you show us what the hell that is?
Sure. Let me grab a stick.
Yeah. No one moves like Tuhon Rob, man. I'm telling you. But while he's away, let me talk about how other people move. I love how Tuhon Apollo moves. I love how Tuhon Jack Latore moves. I love how Tuhon Jared moves. I really love like how Tuhon Mel Tortal moves. His fluidity is, and each one of the instructors that I mentioned, they have their own flair, right? And sorry, short list, but Tuhon Rob is back. Anyway, I love the way you move. I think I don't know if I make this comment now. I think I like the way you move best.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Well, hold on. Let me put an asterisk on that. Maybe you're definitely at the top. So what is this thing that you do?
So
Can you teach us?
There's 2 things. So I'll do this. So these 2 movements are actually one's it's called a traverse, and then in the PTI curriculum they call it the reverse 3. They both have the hand. PTI goes from here, and then they scoop it from there. They keep the hand still kind of contact. Traverse is I go from here, and see I catch it. I just give the momentum, and then I pick it up. So the whole idea of this is
that's dope. Go ahead.
The purpose of that is 2 things, or actually I'll just say one of them, just one, is you're actually from the traverse, this right here is actually deflecting the blade.
Yeah.
Right? So if the person's coming in angle 1, I can deflect. It's almost like you're just backhanding in a way, but you're not. So when that happens, I deflect, then this cuts right up.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, obviously you're doing it with a stick, but when you do it with a Ginun thing, you have to have like supreme edge awareness, because you do
very much. That's why this is the flat, and this is the sharp, right? The knuckles. So if I do this is flat.
Yeah.
My knuckles flat of the blade.
Jeez.
Right? I catch. Now I know there's going to be blade sharpness, but I just, again.
When you see it, man, go on Tuhon Rob's Instagram or like his Facebook page. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, this dude has got to be drunk as fuck right now to be doing it at that speed with a live blade.
No, that was a lesson I learned a long time ago.
No, but it's crazy how you do it. Hey, there's also another thing that you taught me. Okay, so long story short, I was going to LA for a project. I didn't know you. You're like, hey, come stay at my apartment. I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna get murdered. Like, who is this gangster looking dude who wants me to stay at his place? We chatted, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go stay at this stranger's place. This is how we met, right? The first time we met, I slept in your apartment. It's kind of indicative of the kind of risks I take as this person who travels and explores FMA and other tactical crap.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, yeah, there's this fucking dude from Los Angeles, tells me he's a ranger and that, he's old school and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go sleep in his apartment. But there was one thing that you taught me that immediately I'm like, I'm gonna smash somebody with this technique. And it was this. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to share with you guys the concept, right? Because this is how I learn. I'll give you the skeleton. You guys can fill it in. But basically, the stick moves in this plane, in this plane, right. And then all of a sudden, it goes boom. It goes up. So from here, it's kind of like this, and all of a sudden, it goes like that. Do you remember teaching me that?
Yeah, that's the traverse.
Oh, it is. Okay, so we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, that's
so.
The same. Yeah.
Can you show people how it should actually look? Because
right. So
because you do it so friggin' fast, and it's like, well, boom, like it's almost like it goes on a 90-degree angle in flow. Which,
correct.
If you guys who do Carenza, you know how friggin' difficult it is to create a 90-degree angle in flow and make it look super dope. It's freaking hard.
Yeah, they go like this. They kind of. This thing with 90 degree.
Or like they pop the brakes and it doesn't. So anyway, can you do it?
Sure. So the traverse, what it does is that you can. So when he teaches this, is he does the full flow, right? So go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and he do that as a exercise, right? To get the mechanics going.
Show it to us again a little bit slower if you can. Make sure that it's in frame.
So so from here, you just go 1, 2, again. So people, what they try to do, they try to push it like this, with the arm.
Yeah.
Do this, they kind of circle it and come up.
Yeah. Okay? It's kind of how I do it.
Really think about it. You let your wrist, just don't do anything with your wrist. And I just push. See that?
Yeah.
I just push it to the point where my wrist breaks and it can't break no more.
Yeah.
So once I do that, I do the right, and then I just roll it and then come straight up like a. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So I was doing it in this plane. I was doing it like this.
You can. So this is the part.
I was going side to side and then trying to break it, which seems harder. Here's
the plan. I go 1, 2. So I just go. That's it.
Yeah.
See, I went straight, 1, boom.
Okay.
So you can go from any plane or from any direction.
Yeah.
Like here, see, I did a diagonal.
Yeah. So there's a million ways to do this, but I
top, pick. If I plane, pick.
Right.
If I go under, pick. See?
Yeah.
So
the way I learn is that I understand the basic concept and then I apply it into tactics so that I can smash somebody's nose with it.
Right. That's
what I mean. So I'm never going to get the mechanics as good as somebody like you, but because, and this is how I approach my Pekiti Tirsia studies, right? It's like I know just enough about it. And then I dump it into the friggin' fire and see what emerges from it. So the moment you taught me this, I'm like, okay, I get it. And I think the way I tactically applied it was that you give your opponent, because humans, we seek pattern.
Correct.
Right? We seek pattern in movement and sound and day-to-day life. We try to make sense of this chaos that's around us. So you kind of guide your opponent. I'm going to use a knife. So just imagine this with a stick. Just easier on a desktop here. So how I do that is I create this predictability and I lull them into like, I've got the pattern. At some point, I'm going to try to hit that.
Right.
And I do it so lazy. I'm just almost like waving it like this. And then the moment they try to go after it is when I apply that explosive directional change with a forward advance, and then I hit them with it. But this is why I don't necessarily think that I can ever teach the art of Pekiti Tirsia, but I can probably teach it conceptually while empowering the student to find their own way, which is it is Pekiti Tirsia to find your own way within the vastness of a system, and then to find your specialty within it, right?
That's correct. That's what actually with any that's by laws with any martial arts systems. This that you do. That's
yeah. So I can only teach somebody the concept, and the concept is you create a predictable pattern so that your opponent's mind is occupied into that thing that you've prescribed for them to think about. And then at that point, you're only waiting for that specific instance when they're going to try to break it. And so I'm reading one thing. I'm reading them for that one moment they're going to try to hit my stick or try to enter or try to deflect, and I'm going to beat them to the punch. And it's almost like two like snakes that are just like, who's got who in the trance and who's going to strike predictably and who's one step ahead. So this is how I see Pekiti Tirsia in a tactical sense. The technical, I'm not really very good at, to be honest with you. And that's why when I watch you and when I learn from you, I don't care necessarily. I mean, it's not fair for me to say I don't care what you say, right? Because you're also a huge ambassador of PTK. You really believe in its concepts and sacred geometry and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm just going to nod my head. I'm just going to watch this guy move. And then I'm going to try to apply myself into that movement, right? So this is why I love watching you, bro. This is why I think like when people watch your videos, they almost need to watch it in slow motion because there's so much there. Unfortunately, not everybody's that kind of learner. Not everyone's gonna put the work in to just friggin' and luckily I'm an editor. So I've taken some of your videos, and I do this for a lot of people. I take it, I dump it into my editing platform, and I watch it frame by frame. And I watch how opponents react to movement and who pulls the trigger, when, where, right? Sure. And it's super dope. That one simple thing that you taught me, one thing, you taught me a lot, but that one thing, constantly trying to apply it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. What I taught you is you just said that one word, predictability. That's what you just described what Filipino martial arts fighting is. It's predictability, right? That's the whole point. You want them, right, to come in. It's just like the battlefield, right? You want them to come into the ambush, right? You get your group of men in formation or walking in. You build, right, to get them in the ambush where you can get them all sectors of fire to get them in. You just explained that's what Filipino martial arts is. It's called predictability. I look predictable. GT says this: you want them to focus on you, then you get them, right? Yeah. So you make this thing like, okay, I'll chase that, I'll hit that, and sure enough, bang, you finish it.
Yeah, I put it in terms of in a stick fight or whatever, right? I'm just gonna talk sport here, right? Stick fighting is a combat sport,
right?
Hey, babe, welcome home. I'm on a podcast. Sorry. Good man. So the terms, I forgot to take out the garbage, you guys. Now I'm in trouble. It's garbage day. So the terms, the exact same terms that you're talking about, I see it as in a stick fight, in a combat sport arena, we're both having to think about something. Like we're thinking about something, right? We're thinking about our defenses, our offenses, our strategy, what it's doing, the sounds that we're hearing. And so what I want to do is take control over what your mental processes are. And if I can occupy what you have to think about, then it's much easier for me to compose what you're going to do. So if I'm waving this around, you're thinking about that thing. Yeah. And this is why I think it's important.
They don't want to get hit. Yeah. You're thinking about this. It's like the snake, right? You're luring this thing, and you're like, okay, is he baiting me in? But I don't know. But it looks predictable, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no. And something you said. This is also something that you said in one of your in a platform here. You're saying about not that power generating and non-telegraphic.
Well, that was a whole conversation. Yeah.
I know.
Like
But
there's an inverse correlation between being non-telegraphic and power generation.
That predictability, you can still power generate just from there.
100%. My contention was never that you can't generate power from non-telegraphic, but that any movement that generates force can generate more force with a wind up. That's all.
If you look at GT, you'll never see him wind up in the fight. It's straight from the point of origin, just boom, and it's just power at the same time, but non-telegraphic. Very scary.
Well, I think that definitely has value.
It does.
But I think people who love the whole idea of being non-telegraphic,
I know you don't want to get into that.
Yeah. I really don't want to get into it.
We'll save that.
But here's the thing. Being non-telegraphic is super friggin' overrated. It's super duper ultra overrated. And I think the people who love being non-telegraphic so much do so at a point where they forget. You watch any boxing match where they're supposed to be non-telegraphic. You watch any MMA match. You watch any CCTV video, right? Telegraphic strikes and attacks land a whole lot, and they land with a lot more devastation behind them. And the reason for that is just because you can see something coming, it doesn't mean you can stop it, period.
That's right.
I can see a running back, a linebacker charging at me from 15 yards away, which gives me, maybe 5-10 seconds of telegraphy. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop that dude.
That's correct. That's the non-telegraphic, the coin that I think a lot misinterpreted, misunderstood, or did understood a lot, and is from Bruce Lee. When he put that in his book, but that Jeet Kune Do is non-telegraphic, talk about non-telegraphic, and that name just spawned. So when you were saying it was overrated or oversaturated, that name, it's because of that.
I think people just fixate on it. Here's the thing: if you're dueling,
it's so funny you say that, because terminology and names, they fixate on that. That's like sitting and fighting. If they're fighting, right, or say stick, they say, okay, I'm going to try to perform the Estrella movement. Okay, what does the Estrella movement look like? I'm going to try to get it right. Yeah. They're trying to fixate on a name, and then try and fixate on the fight of what's supposed to look like, and you're going to lose. You're just going to lose.
I think as important. And again, we can get into the nuance. People are going to argue this all day long, but I weaponize being telegraphic all the time. Like when I wind up for a big angle one, you actually don't know if the angle one is coming or some directional change is coming. And then some might argue the directional change is the non-telegraphic part. It can go on all day long. But anyway, Tim Rivera is asking Travez. Travez is what you're saying. Yes. What's the term he's saying? He couldn't hear it clearly. It is Travez.
Yeah, Travez. And and in these names too, there can be very different in dialogues, in the terms that right. Like when I look at again from the PTI manual of the not the manual, but the reverse 3, right? Yeah. It's the same motion. It's the same SOS. The only difference is they take the stick as a reinforcement and they pick it up. But if you look at the vest, it's the same thing.
Bro. So one of the things that I learned from Tuhon Jack, and I don't even know if he had a name for it. I called it the shovel thrust, where you literally bang. And the way I execute that, like the way he showed it to me was very different from the way I execute it. You know what I mean? Just this whole, and I saw it first when I was in Japan watching the Grand Summer Sumo tournament. And as they were doing their dance, they were kind of doing something like this. And this motion in close in the clinch, turtling up, and then boom, it's freaking devastating.
Oh, it is fascinating. I mean, if you look at from every fisherman, spear fisherman, through
yeah,
the centuries,
yeah,
everything has been, and that's been used in medieval, as it has been used in every.
yeah. In tight, I man, there's so many like little nasty tricks that you can pull off, and I got to be careful with that stuff because that is designed to ride up the sternum under their mask.
That's why Filipino martial art is tricky. It's cheating. It's nasty.
Yeah.
It's not meant to operate by rules. What you're doing.
Well, the thing is, you know what? I travel and I know all of them. I don't know all of them, but people like give me dirty tricks all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you even sharing this? I can't do this to my buddy that I'm, sparring. I like this guy. I don't want to kill him. But and so my mandate has been, I want to look pretty under pressure, man. You know me. You gave me my call sign, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell. This guy calls me Tinkerbell because I'm all like dancing. I'm like tapping people and getting my angles.
Yeah. You got fairy wings. You move like flying over. Like be still. And
Yeah.
but call signs like that is because they're badasses.
Yeah, I'm friggin' Tinkerbell. Yeah, that's dope. By the way, do you know anything about Calice Illustrissimo?
Very little. Very little. I mean,
Yeah.
I look at all the Filipino martial arts, and like I said, I look at it, I dissect it, I study it, analyze it,
Yeah.
And Calice Illustrissimo is one of the names of this party of the art that's just very popular.
Mm.
Really, if you really look at these names that's been brought into the United States, you have the Bahalana,
Yeah.
Prada, Calice Illustrissimo, right? Because the man who was out here, that Patatang, and here in LA, in Pomona, California, was not Sulete, Ego Sulete.
Yeah.
He's the one I brought. So because of those names, those derivative powerful names, and then Pekiti, Tirsia, Dos Aparis,
Yeah.
and that's why like that name is so big, the Calice Illustrissimo, and it has its own, world. But what context are you asking me about knowing Calice Illustrissimo? Like, do I know it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think about it?
I not know it, but I have an idea. But I see the striking patterns. One thing that Illustrissimo don't do is they do not break the wrist.
That's right. I mean, okay. Well, let me say this: I was taught by Henry Aspera, Fabrizio, Sean Zerger, Archie Luz, which is from the Tony Diego line. So I had my fair share of exposure this is all in-person stuff to KI as well as reading all the other stuff. It doesn't seem like they are into the casting, and they're not very wristy. They're very like
about the blades, about the cut. And the thing about Calice Illustrissimo is they're in my opinion, from what I've been seeing, they're more about perseverance than more try to modern.
Oh, you mean preservation.
Excuse me, preservation. Yeah. It's all about it's all about preservation. That's why it has to be like this, it has to be like that. It cannot you cannot do anything else. If you try to fight, right? And you do something, right? Let's use one. You do something, but it worked. What happens in that context is they're going to be like, what was that? What is that? That's not Illustrissimo. That's like, no, it's supposed to be like that. And then it gets really confusing from there.
I think that's true for the most part. And then you see somebody like Yuli Romo, who fully interpreted KI into who he is and his tendencies.
Yeah.
And he is one of my favorites.
That's why he's a lone wolf.
He's one of my favorites. I mean, I think if you were to break it down, if you were to break down KI into trying to preserve whatever people thought Tatang wanted to teach versus the concepts that he embodied, it's natural for a person like me to gravitate towards someone like Yuli Romo because he interpreted those and he adapted it to who he was and what else he knew
Right.
and who else he is.
And in that context of the lone wolf, what I mean by he is his own
Yeah.
man alpha. That's why he knew by doing what he do, he wanted to be true to himself and true to what he of the art.
Yeah.
And he was going to adapt and put knowing the fact that it's going to go against the grain of others that are not going to agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, that's what makes him amazing.
You know, whenever I talk about the balance between preserving an art and evolving it, one of the arguments that constantly come up is like, you know, we're not sword fighting to the death these days. And so whatever we learn today, they don't say it expressly like this, but there's an artificiality and an inauthenticity to it. Like, what value does pressure testing and sparring and competing have when you've got masks and gloves and armor and you don't have that fear of death? And I see their point, right? But at the same time, if we're principle-based learners and we have the correct mindset, I think now we have an opportunity to learn more about bladed arts than ever in history. Mind you, I say this with respect to the
Of course.
the lives.
This goes back to, and I believe that this is the number one thing. You have to fight. You have to fight. You got to get in the ring. You got to do something. You got to get hit. There's just no way doubt about it. Like if you don't know how to get hit, know how to take a hit, know how to receive a hit, know how to recover from a hit, or whatever, then the art dies with you. You have no idea. You never tested it. And it's funny you saying that. We're talking about this. I was going to go about Facebook Live about what you were saying on this. And the scope of this is that how traditional martial arts in the 70s and the 80s, right? There was like schools for every dojo, out from every block. I mean, you could walk to it. And back in those days, it was all about style versus style. My style is superior to your style, right? And the kata is the kata. The kata doesn't change. The form, the structure, the techniques, it's presented, right? And in those days, too, in the 70s, 80s, and the turn of the 90s, before USC, because I think USC came out in 1992 or 91, they always preach that this technique will work on this technique. And actually, you just did this, too. I just saw this about the knife, about bringing in about something with the knife and the gun, and you will get cut. I see these comments. You will get cut.
You will get cut. I hate that so much. You will get
cut. So the problem was back. I know, right? What happens is when these Westerners learn from their teachers, right? The teachers, the way they made it, they made the art superior. The teacher was superior in their eyes. They see this art superior, and they will see them. This technique will be superior. You'll be invincible, kind of deal, right? Against a wrist hand, two-hand wrist grab, arm, shoulder, whatever. Against a roundhouse punch, straight punch. Against a two combination, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And what happened was they never pressure tested. They always thought that's the technique. It worked. Bam.
Right. Scissors beat paper, rock beats scissors. It's almost like these techniques. This technique beats that technique.
Correct. Technique will be against the punch, against this, right? It's going to look like, I promise you, when the punch comes, it's going to look like this.
Yeah.
Pump, 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 right?
Yeah.
You
talk like that sometimes, bro.
You're
like a lateral strike will always beat a diagonal strike.
Yeah, like right. And I catch myself, which I got real better.
Okay, good.
I kind of graded.
I love how we keep it real, bro.
Yeah.
We can talk for real.
And the fact is now what happened with UFC, right, is a lot of these, they got demolished, right? These traditional martial artists, right? And then the traditional martial artists, as black sash and black belts and this and that, they defected to Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu because they said, oh, it worked. It sucked. We were lied to, right?
Yeah.
It's complete false.
It's coming back around now. Traditional martial arts is undergoing a renaissance in the UFC.
These guys never fought. These guys or believed they had to fight in this proper manner
Right.
or technique in this manner. No, you could take components of the technique, like I say, just a rich hand. I come in here, rich hand, palm. It's something like you did where you go like this, right? You were doing this video, you were going like this,
Yeah, that was a dope video,
right?
man.
Right, and then you see it where you did the stick.
Yeah,
okay,
I transferred it.
right, you transferred it. Just that one part of component of knowledge.
Yeah,
a technique from a system, it works. But they had this thing in their head back then in martial arts, like it has to be complete. So I'm talking about what? Perseverance, preserve, right?
Yeah, you know what though? I got to be honest with you. I did that completely by accident. Let me bring this up. By the way, there's an analogy here, real quick. Can I present an analogy? Can I talk to you guys about something here?
Oh, sure.
And this goes along the lines of, like, what can we possibly learn today when we're not actually out there protecting our villages and chopping heads off? What can we actually learn? Well, I had a conversation with Mahipa Lunya today. I like that dude. Very smart cat. And then I drew this analogy, which I thought was quite appropriate. Oh, we're going to see this. This is what I did here. Sorry. I didn't mean to play that right now. Damn it. So here's an analogy I want you guys to all pay attention to and listen to, okay? I want you to imagine a gorge, a canyon, cliff here and a cliff here, okay? And 150-foot drop to the bottom that will surely kill you, okay? I want you to imagine a tightrope going from one cliff to another cliff. You with me? There's a tightrope that connects this cliff and this cliff. Okay? Now, I think I'm awesome. I think I can do this. So I start walking this tightrope. And I start to lose balance, and then I recover my balance. And I got to recover my balance, and I keep walking. If I make it to the other side of that cliff, I have knowledge to share with future generations of people who need to walk that line. I can say, this is what I learned, and this is what will lead to success. Now, other people will walk that tightrope, and they will learn lessons along the way, but they won't make it to the other side. They'll fall and die. Mm. Maybe they realized halfway through that breathing in this way helps me gain that balance. I can't wait to pass this on when I reach the other side. And they fall and they die, and they're never able to pass along that knowledge. Now, today, we can have harnesses, and we have knowledge of certain knots, and we have material that will tether us to that tightrope. We can have a safety net underneath that tightrope so that even if we fall, even if we die, we get to share what we learn with future generations. And that's precisely how I see the bladed arts. We have the luxury of peace that we owe our ancestors a great deal to. We can honor the bloodshed, the art, the history, the culture that gave us this foundation of knowledge. But it doesn't mean we've stopped learning, because now we have the luxury of armor, of hockey gloves, of fencing masks. We have the luxury. Like, I fought people from friggin' France who have their histories. I've fought French people, German people, Indonesians, Australians, Filipinos, both native and, immigrants. I fought Scandinavians, Finnish people, Czechoslovakian people. And we can all have this experience, and we have this safety net, and we have this tether. And so while we will never be able to recreate that moment in time when we didn't have those things, and that we needed to make every right call, otherwise we would die and not be able to pass on, it doesn't mean that we've learned everything that there is to learn. If you look at jiu-jitsu now, those dudes would smoke samurais who learned jiu-jitsu then, just by virtue of how many people are looking at this and the luxury that we have to implement guns, knives, long swords, short swords. So I think while it's important to preserve and while it's important to honor, I don't think that it's an accurate assessment for people to make the claim that we've learned everything that there is to learn about the bladed arts because we're not fighting to the death anymore. We will never, ever be able to recreate fear of death in training, no matter how good you think your training is. We're never going to recreate a pillaging, raiding party coming into our village and us having to defend ourselves. But that doesn't mean that there aren't any more lessons to learn or innovations to be made. So that's all I'm saying. Hope that makes sense. But here's that thing that you were talking about. That motion. Is that what would you say about that? What is that, Pekiti Tirsia?
It's Pekiti Tirsia.
What do you mean? How is that Pekiti Tirsia?
So, for example, like if you look at your fighting, so if you look there, right there, that right there, you just did I believe it's more of the contrada, but more of the offensive defensa in that, which is so. That's the thing about me is I would do movements like what you're doing right there and all, right? And you said to yourself like, well, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, right? You don't know the name or anything, right? But you see the principles, right? You see the principles, and then you actually applied it because it made sense. It cut the line, right? So you're this is high level. This is high level what you're doing here. All of it. You're not taking anything from like, okay, I'm going to take contrada set 1, technique 2 from this, and I'm going to extrapolate that, and I'm going to apply that to this fight. No, what you did was automatically it fought because it made sense. You use it all the time. It worked all the time, right?
But if I'm being honest, bro, I never trained that when I executed it. I never, all this stuff that you see in me wearing black, that came after I did the motion. All this crap, it came after. Like this moment when I read his incoming thrust, I parried it and I countered. I was relatively fresher in my FMA journey. So it's not genuine for me to say that I trained it and then I executed it.
So, okay.
That's not authentic. That's not real. I did this move long before I trained that move.
So you're telling me that move with the stick, you have never done that before? That was the first time you got deployed?
No, I have. You know what that is to me? That's Sabayan. That's a simultaneous attack and defense.
Okay. So
and at this point, I was training Sabayan. Sabayan's the only thing I trained in Pekiti.
This fight right here is what GT is talking about right here. The fight that you did. Okay. That is a high level of movement that you did. And if you look at it too, it's a spotty daga because the dude went in. So you bisected the line.
Right.
You just cut in what you were showing on the picture. But the reason why it worked is because it made sense. It doesn't matter. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to accept that, bro. It's really hard for me to accept that because I never trained that specific thing. At that point, I hadn't trained a spotty daga. All I trained was Sabayan. So okay, so let's say spy daga. I mean by that, I said you did spy daga. You probably weren't aware.
Sure, yeah, for sure, right? Yeah.
But the movement,
I get that.
This right here, you just kept on like, I like this, and you keep practicing and practicing it, and it's just like that's it, pump.
Yeah,
you didn't have to go through 100 things of techniques or anything. You found this one simplicity. You took it, you stripped it, you made it yours.
Yeah.
Features. That's when you know we're using in the fight. You know,
and that angle too from the low load, it's freaking devastating. But I mean, that's not necessarily Pekiti Tirsia. That exists in every FMA system.
Well, here now
the concepts exist universally.
I will go into this for you a little bit depth now here. Okay, for Pekiti.
Right.
So what you did is you took the principles when you orasan, which is the clock system. Meaning this the 12th, angle, 12 through the clock, right? Every hour, every minute, right? Meaning you could take any angle from that position, 3, 12, wherever, and still deliver that attack. So you deliver from a low line.
Yeah, from the 6 o'clock position to
Correct.
like an 11 o'clock position.
That's correct. Right.
Yeah.
So meaning if you understand, that's what I would say to you, and you'd be like, what do you mean? Orasan? What? I just did this, man.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the system, right? This is what you did.
Right.
Which this was perfectly executed. You just like, if that was a blade, that was a hack with no gear, he was done. And look at your footwork too, as well.
I step on his foot. Yeah.
Your blade sense footwork.
Yeah.
It's pretty flawless if I ask you about, bro.
You know what though? I mean, again, like we look at a piece of video like this, and for me, understanding a little bit of KI, I can claim una pulgada here. Like I put myself in danger and I presented a vulnerability that I capitalized on, and I was inches away from harm. Right. And I think this is the beauty of the Filipino martial arts. It's like, oh, man, that thrust was freaking close. Look at that thing, man.
Can you repeat that? What you just said? What you said there? You invite. What did you say?
Una pulgada. Like I present a vulnerability that I capitalize on, and I'm inches away from danger.
That is the combat FMA. You that's what it is. That's why it's close. That's why Filipino martial arts is close, because you have to present the vulnerability in order for them to move in. So then you know what to do with the blade to get them close to your blade. That's what it is. That's the fighting. That's not the sport. That's the essence of, like, you know, survival. What you're doing right there, like you're fighting. That terminology what you just said.
Yeah. Oh man. While I have you here, I got another video, man.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I love this. You know what? Between you and Coach Danny Terrell from PTI and Coach not Tuhon, Jack Latorre, sometimes I do stuff and they're like, oh, that's Sigida 3-58. And it's interesting for me. Like, look, here comes Coach Danny Terrell in Wing Chun. It's Jutda, right? And I have, you know, Sifu Mark Medieros and now Sifu Kevin Seaman who are like, hey, you did that thing. I'm like, man, but I never trained that thing. It's like, but you trained the other thing, and that thing's close enough to the other thing.
Yeah. The universal concepts and relations are all, the format are very similar. They're all similar. Like you'll take a concept, a principal concept from a language, or like from a philosophy from Wing Chun. You'll take a concept of a language from a Filipino martial art. But they all speak the same language, right? Like what is meant to do. You know, which is right here.
You seeing this? Okay. You see, I'm fighting like this. I'm fighting like this. I'm fighting like this. Conceptually, for people who are watching this right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mask my range. So there's two ways to do that. One is with a lot of movement, and two is with almost no movement. Right?
Right.
This guy is way bigger and taller than me. Way bigger and taller. And he's a very nice guy. Very generous as well. But I told him, hey, I wanted to test this, and I want you to challenge me. Like, because my arms are not out and I'm not moving a whole lot, his challenge is to try to predict what my range is. And for him to do that, he's got to come in and take risks.
That's right. He's got to take the risk. Right.
Yeah.
That's the bait. The bait is the winning. It's the bait to come in to get your knife close. Yeah. Because you already know what to do. And you know this for a fact because you're in that cross position here doing this. Yeah. Whatever he throws, it's going to counter. It's going to cut. It's going to, like, whatever he throws, it's going to slash him.
Yeah, and he doesn't know. It's a very difficult and strange thing to deal with because from one look, I'm extremely vulnerable. Super, super vulnerable. Right? Like somebody could just teep me. A Muay Thai guy would be like, screw that, but kick this guy right in the chest. I probably would have no answer for that.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, like you got a knife in your hand that it's a game changer, you know, and he's taking it very seriously. And he's like, okay, I don't want to get stabbed. I don't want to get cut. Right. Yeah. So he's being very careful. He's not getting complacent, not getting comfortable.
Well, he is like, and look at this. He's just leaving it out there. And
oh yeah. See, you know,
I tap, and that's part of it, right? Again, occupying his mental space.
I think a lot of it too, the reason we keep his hand out there is because, you know, that it's who he is. I'm tall, whatever. This guy's not going to get me.
Yeah.
And he's throwing these surprise attacks. And when he did that, he was like, oh, okay, that's a big change, right? So it throws him off, right? Now he's all his brain wires kind of like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's just a
You know?
different look. And maybe it's just by virtue of unfamiliarity. I don't think
And
this
look,
guy's ever, this guy's a Pekiti Tirsia. I don't think he's ever faced this kind of energy before. So that could be it.
Right.
If I face him again with this, he's probably going to smash me. Like he's clued in.
well,
You know
see,
what I mean? Maybe
dude,
it's just that. Maybe it's just this unpredictability, reading your
Yeah.
opponent and presenting them with something that's unfamiliar. Maybe
Right.
that's the key.
No, that's great. I mean, I see your footwork. You switched off, then you go from you switched off from a front lead to a right lead, and you went,
Yeah.
and you went straight into like a 90-degree square, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
right there. Boom.
Oh, you get
Boom. That's all pure female triangle footwork right there.
dude. See
And
that?
then
like-
I do the parry and counter.
How you pivot and you went to a 90 degrees right there. That was pretty. It didn't work. He was supposed to come in, so you will get him right there.
Yeah.
Don't go into your footwork and your line of your pattern, so you would have cut him. But it's really, 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 really good.
Look at this. Look at this asshole.
With Justin. So-
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, man.
I'm so fortunate, bro, to have these dickheads in Canada who are just so down to spar, man.
Oh, Justin, man,
Yeah, that cruise.
he doesn't care if you're a god, man. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah,
Like, you know, I love that. I truly.
it's
We
good, man.
need more men like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We need fighters like that, like humble, you know, but like, yeah, sure, come on.
Yo, Canada's a special place, man, because we don't have the history of you Americans with FMA. There is no like friggin' vendettas and grudges, so we can just bang, you know, and it's
Everyone here is bitter in the United States.
you
Everyone,
guys have so much history, right? Like I get it, man.
everyone's
You guys, FMA in
Everyone's
America is bitter, bro.
yeah.
It's bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. And jaded,
Yeah, dude.
yeah, and cynical,
Yeah.
but fucking skilled, and with a wealth of knowledge and information. You guys need to get your shit together, man. And you are, honestly, you guys are. You know, there's pockets.
I'm good, but it's like if I step into someone's like, you know, just to check it out, and then they see
Whatever, bro.
automatically they see I'm a big.
Well,
Right.
just the grease in your hair throws people off, man. It's like, who is this guy? You
Well,
look like the Mexican Fonz or something with untings on your.
Um,
Oh crap! You know what I love about us, man?
brother, you know what it is? It's about a dude stepping in. They see him, right? Like it's about. Here's the thing about martial arts, and I love them all, right? But like,
Yeah, I'm gonna go pee. You talk to the people and then catch me up.
yeah. So I think a lot of it has to do with like, you know, from insecurity, you know, like a little bit, and they see a guy who is up stature, a bit, you know, confident, and move in, you know, and you do good as what you do, right? And you'll have like, you know, martial artists that they focus so much on like working on the art, but not working so much on themselves, like with health wise, you know. So you see a lot of, you know, guys get in that gut and thing. And you know, you'll see men that are just confident and humble, and they do what they do and they're good at, and so it sets a tone, which I wish those other martial didn't look at it. They should be like, wow, here's this good guy. Or even a woman comes in, very strong stature, very, you know, and very confident what they do in their teaching, you know, or their skill sets. And I think a lot of it has to do with just still insecurity, and you know, they see who's this brass in person, and it's not, I'm not coming off that. It's because it's who I am, what I present, how I show, you know. And I think that's a thing about martial arts. Another thing about martial arts too, in a way, is that for years and years and years, martial arts has been presented into a tone of what an instructor should look like.
Sounds good. Thanks, babe.
You know, and it's been like that. And for me, I'm going to be honest with you, but I like putting fashion into.
What I miss? We're talking about fashion.
But I like to put. I'll come up, Justin. I'm like, dude, I'll come up, brother. For sure. That'll be great. You know. And but the thing is that I like to put fashion into martial arts. I like to put like music into martial arts, right? So I think a lot of people are like, well, why is this guy, you know, like this? And, you
Yeah.
know, and like for example, I love Lenny Kravitz, right? I love how this dude, like, right, and these other great men, they just present their way in their own skin, in their own fashion, but they can play, they can jam, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, shit, like I'm a man, and I know I like to feel good, look good, right? So I go in and I have this fashion, I put into martial arts, what I'm about,
You're a sexy man.
right?
And enough with this toxic masculinity. You're gonna offend the people.
Oh,
You can't be a man these days, bro. You can't.
well, hey man, well, I'll live as a man, breathe as a man, die as a man. Hey, let's talk about, if you mind, what about that video that you just tagged me on? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Thank you for reminding me. First of all, before I do that, addressing Justin, there is tons of insecurity and ego up here in Canada, not just USA. 100% true. But that's because, man, Justin's crew, bro, fucking intimidating as fuck.
Good.
I jumped in there.
Good.
I jumped in there, and I was like, yeah, I fought Mark, and friggin' Sean Zerger was there that time, and all of his killers.
Wow.
It could be a little intimidating, but you know what? We're working on that.
But those are the friends. Those are the friends you need.
I know.
Those are the friends you need.
I know, but it's not how you look. I love the Dog Brothers, right? But it's a small group of people who do that stuff because the perception is it's freaking intimidating. So I think there's a good balance. By the way,
let me say something on the Dog Brother. I think the Dog Brother is a great passage for those that this is my opinion. I mean, I don't know how it was in the 80s, man. I mean, in the 70s, 80s, man, dude, it was just fighters, like natural fighters, right? Natural fighters. Come, like, if you look now, like the way it's a rite of passage, okay? So, for example, you will have men and women are successfully graduated from college. They've been in the business industry, whatever they do in their life, making $80K, right? All this, they got a great house, right? But what they have never done is they've never been a bad boy or a naughty girl, right? Like ditch school, go into gangs, get in trouble, get in the fight, mischievous. You leave out of your mom's house, you always get in trouble, things like that. You become part of a friend of a community or things like that, right? Go to the military, you've been deployed, right? So they had never experienced that. They don't know, right? So kind of like Fight Club, you get all these dudes, they come in and smash each other out, right? They want to be intimidating, right? So what do they? So that's what Dog Brothers is. They say, come in, right? And these people are like, one of them is a doctor, MDs. You got dentists.
So here's the secret. I think you're leading to it. You guys want to know the secret? What the Dog Brothers that I am vividly aware of now? Here's a secret to the Dog Brothers. And I'm sorry, Dog Brothers, to ruin your brand image, but I know this for a fact about the Dog Brothers. You are nice people. You are warm and welcoming and intelligent and technical, and people don't give you enough credit for that. People think the Dog Brothers like, we're just fucking bunch of knuckle draggers. I tell you, man, they're not. They're accommodating. If you got a hip problem, you can still fight in a Dog Brothers match. You know what I mean? If you're like, hey, let's take it a little bit lighter, I got a surgery tomorrow, they'll do that. And so, sorry to burst the image, but the Dog Brothers are warm, intelligent, caring people.
Yeah.
And
because they have a life. They have a already built. Like they got their all fit together. They got everything.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? But at the same time, damn it, they had one hell of a I don't even know it's marketing or whatever, brand management, whatever the founding, like Mark Denny and all these guys. They did a fucking hell of a job, because even somebody who is not a Dog Brother, who has never fought a Dog Brother or even sparred, when they defend their FMA to strangers, they're like, oh yeah, you heard of the Dog Brothers? So it's kind of like, it's good for FMA to have the Dog Brothers in existence. It's
No,
really,
but it is. It is. It's definitely.
yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah. There's some things like I think it's great if you can afford it. If you have money for insurance and you can afford your by all means go. But
Or live in Canada.
if you're working 8 to 5 job, man, and you can't even pay your own bills, dude,
Yeah, it can be harsh.
You gotta be careful.
And you know what? I think that has something to do with Canadians being super awesome dog brothers. Like we've got some doggy dogs here, but also like, you know, we got fucking Tuhon Philip here. You know what I mean? Like even in Justin's camp, there's at least 2 dog brothers that I know of. And it's just like, you know, I think it's that free health insurance thing. Canadians are ferocious people. Super nice, but that cold builds character.
Yeah, that's why you guys are so nice. That's why Canadians are the most nicest people.
All right, let's look at this video. So this is the video that I saw and I wanted to talk to you about because I saw this video and I'm like, bro, you presented some vulnerabilities, man. Remember we talked about this?
Yep, we did.
And I said, hey, I viewed this video from 2 lenses. One, from an uneducated lens, just a casual knifer dude. And I'm like, I'm telling you, bro, those uneducated fools are going to have something to say about these techniques because you did present vulnerabilities.
Can I stop you on that? On that thought?
Yeah.
Okay. Generally men are going to criticize that. If they come, this is ego, right? Which is fine. Okay, yeah. Coming from they're all martial artists, right? They're confident in their art. They think their art they're superior, and he did 20 years. He got the answers for everything, right? And all that. I would have done this. That's fine. That's normal. That's okay. It's no problem. But first thing they're going to do is they're going to critique and analyze and see what the fault is instead of saying, let me back up. Let me look at this, right? It's kind of like you hear 2 sides of the story, right? You're not going to believe one side of the story. You got to be like, wait, let me see what's really happening here. Yeah. And you're like, right? And then you give your constant thought, and you give a thought, constant, good, critical, healthy decision. Not more like, that's stupid. Why would you do that? Look, he's already vulnerable, blah, 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 right? And then he comes from, and then it shows his character of this person coming from this martial arts lineage or from where it's at. But it's unavoidable. It cannot change it. It's what it is. Men are going to expose weaknesses among men. That's the reason why men are arrogant, and we have to get our respect, right? It's
true. And honestly, you do it too. I do it too. Everybody does it too. Whether or not you end up hitting enter on the comment that you've written, we do that. You know why? We're problem solvers.
Right.
We're natural problem. We see a problem. We're like, oh, I got the solution. So it's not always based on insecurity. I get that. Sometimes it's always based on some kind of insecurity.
No, it's based on partial of it. It's a partial.
Yeah, I mean, we've all got insecurities, bro. Like, let's not pussyfoot around that fact. But you're right. You're absolutely right. You see a technique, and it's so easy to point the vulnerability.
But this is our way of our communicating what masculinity is, right? This is what we is because we're meant to, like get in the fight. Right? This is how we go in. But anyways, let's go on to this video and let's carry on here.
No. Continue talk because I think it's an important distinction, right? Like we see a video like this, right? Or worse, we see a photo and it's like, oh, well, he's disbalanced, or this is what I would do if he does that. But what I told you was I watched this video from 2 lenses. One, the less educated lens, and I was able to identify all of these vulnerabilities. Right. And then 2, I sort of saw it from if I can be so bold and arrogant to say that, from a higher level of thinking. And then I said, this is like listening to a piece of jazz where it's not necessarily the keys that you're playing, but what keys you aren't playing that you ought to be cognizant of. So when I saw this from that higher level, I thought to myself, okay, instead of identifying this as a vulnerability, there's a point of discussion here. Because this is a demo. You stop and you go, and there's compliance. But if we were to examine this from a higher plane, there's things to see. All right, I'm gonna play this. I want you guys.
Go for it. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Whoa. See there. See, that's why you got to come up. Okay.
So sexy, man. Oh, forget that sound. Sorry, man. Your soundtrack selection was doo-doo on this one. Sorry, I'm terrible. I'm terrible when it comes to that stuff. All right, okay. So here is where I saw the vulnerability, right? I'm like, what the hell? There's no sense in you trapping his support side when his weapon-bearing limb is free and you got a downward thrust. He's got a downward thrust available. He can spin out and get a lateral slash across your belly. There's no reason for you to be holding that hand. Is what I thought.
Is what you thought, right?
I thought.
Well,
but we could talk about this.
Sure. Okay.
Look at
so
that.
First and foremost, there's a lot of information happening in here. See, this is the thing. You only saw one. See, they see one thing.
Yeah, Tuhon Rob is bullshit. Look at this. He's holding.
Like everything is like they don't look. It's like they don't read facts, right? Everybody goes straight to the the whatever the person said, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is one of these things. So this what I'm presenting here, and the way I teach it is, they ask me, hey, what is this, right? Because before all this, I was showing more on the context. I was giving the details, right? And then they want to see hey, how would you? Okay, this is what happens, and I just go right into the motion of it, right? What it looks like, and what's happening is there's a lot of things that are happening. So, for example, this is where we're talking about predictability, right? So I wanted to go in starting with a low line, right, to bridge in, okay, and then I fade to the high. They're going to block, and the whole purpose when I went in, and next thing you know, the person grabbed my hand, my knife. As soon as I was about to coach from my hand.
Yeah, hold on. Let me rewind that. So the reason you're actually holding his support hand is because you had just freed it from him trapping your weapon-bearing limb.
That's correct.
See, boom,
right there. Look
right
look at the timing on a quick. It was like pop, pop, pop.
Boop.
Boop.
Right, you slapped it out of the way and you held it.
Correct.
So the reason you're actually holding that hand was because of that moment in time. You guys seeing that, right? That could have been a grab, but your resolution to that was to get it out of the way, and that's why you were there in that moment.
And then that's why I went 90 degrees, right, to be away from. So I was side to side of the shoulder. So the only way he can probably move is he'll probably have to move his body. By the time he moves his body, I can either just push him, or I can spin him, or I can arm with that free hand of the blade. But by that time that happened, when I cleared his hand, I already cut the neck.
So what though? And we had this conversation. Yeah, you cut his neck. Fine. Even if it's not an instantaneous thing, it doesn't mean he can't still. Anyway.
But the whole purpose is to clear. You're trying to cut the knife out to get your knife hand free.
So when I asked you, hey, I'm gonna post this still shot, and I'm gonna post the question in a certain way that it's easy to present the vulnerabilities. I want you to think of what his counter is going to be and what the counter to the counter is. I honestly wasn't expecting very many responses, because when you show like a fundamental, or when you show something that's easy to understand, it's very easy to comment with negativity. It's even easier to go, I agree with that, and not leave any comment at all. I think this is why sometimes when people post something, the commentary can sometimes appear to be overwhelmingly negative. It's because the people who know what's up don't feel compelled to comment like, yeah, that's good stuff, because they're like, yeah, hello, that's what I was thinking. So sometimes whenever you guys see a video or still shot and then the comments might be overwhelmingly negative, it's not always wise to take that as a sign that what the vocal people are saying is correct, right? Because here, if I just froze this, I'm like, okay, The guy on the left doesn't know what he's doing because he's monitoring the support hand and he's not monitoring the weapon hand. You familiar with Scott Walker, this guy? This freaking boxer dude who did it? Yeah?
What? Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, because I posted this on my personal Facebook page, and I asked specifically, I said, look, the vulnerability is easy to identify. The counter is also easy to identify, but what is the counter to the counter? And it was actually Scott Walker who came up with the same answer that I came up with. What did I say about this moment? What could you have done, or what should you be doing that prevents his weapon-bearing limb from being extended to cut you?
There's something about about putting the pressure, the
Forward pressure.
forward pressure.
Yeah.
Right.
So that, exactly.
Right.
That's exactly what Scott wrote. That's
Right.
exactly right.
I did show, because I have, this is from a cut from an edit from a clip of a full seminar I did. And I did explain on that about the putting the pressure of the elbow. But I wanted to give the students to see it in one time.
I get it, man.
You know,
I saw the jazz you were playing, homie. This is why we're having this conversation. I heard the music, man.
You're like, right. I got it.
Yeah, I totally get it. But you see that space between you and him, the space between your hips, the space between your torsos. If that space is closed, it's checkmate. You know what I mean?
That's correct. But it's really that hard if you do it, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Before pressure. So if I had to, so my body's facing like this with this person right here.
Yeah.
So if I do this, I'm just rubbing elbow to elbow. It's a little bit hard. It's a little tricky.
Also,
again, the fact was I just like 90 degrees. I want to
get it, man.
To get away as much as I can.
Bro, listen, I make a lot of content. I make a lot of videos, right? I make a lot of videos. And then sometimes I watch the video and I'm like, crap, I made a mistake. But I post it anyway. Or just given the nature of what it is, it's like a demo. It's a fun little moment. It's just post it anyway. But what we're talking about here is we're pausing and we're dissecting. Like if we pause this, like right now, look what we're looking at.
Right. It's interesting, right? So if you pause that, right?
Yeah. Look at this.
And it'll be like, why does that do is staying there, right? And then if you look at the video, and I'm talking about the principle of the palm up, right? Like why palm up, okay?
Oh, shit. I like this. Go ahead.
Right. So I'm talking about the palm up and everything like that, you know, and then when it's the effectiveness of the palm up, right? And then you go in. Now that's the highlight. And then after that, once the video is off, like you don't see the camera on me no more, then I go in. Guys, when you do the palm up, you want to step off a little here and everything like that.
You want to apply pressure.
Right, you put pressure. But I'm in my moment right now where this is usually common. This is very common with a lot of Guru Daniel Santo, right?
Yeah.
Right? You ask them a question. So for example, when I did the Las Vegas, right? You're like, what if I did that? And all of a sudden GT just like he was like cutting you up, right? That's what his explanation, right? Because he was giving you that moment. They're in that like, okay, if you go to Guru Daniel Santo, right? They're like, what is this again? Here, let me show you. And they go, blah, 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 right? Just to see so they can see, right? But then later on, when it comes to, but you'll see minor gaps. There'll be little things here, a little bit there. They're like, hey, why, all this stuff like that. But that is a way of like going to higher level of what is happening in the moment, like pop, pop, pop. But then later, like it's off the video, when you'll see them, they're actually explaining.
Right, exactly. By the way, I took it easy on GT right there, just to let you guys know. I took it easy on GT. I let him cut me. Yeah. But hey, we had I think we got 12 people watching right now. I want you guys to look at this still shot. Now, I've just been thinking about this. To be honest, I wasn't really listening to what you were saying, Tuhon Rob, because I'm fascinated by this still. I was listening. Okay, there's a guy on the left, and then there's Tuhon Rob on the right. Based on this still shot, let's call the guy on the left A, and the guy on the right, Tuhon Rob, B. If we were just to dissect this particular still shot, who has the advantage? Rob, you do I gotta call you Tuhon, bro?
No, man, just go with Rob, bro.
I feel bad.
No,
All
man.
right, Tuhon.
Good.
Boom. There we go. Full screen. Let's get rid of this banner. Okay. Who's got the advantage? The guy on the left or the guy on the right? Based on this still shot.
It sounds like a game show.
It is. So we'll call the guy on the left A, and we'll call the guy on the right B. Who has the advantage in this still shot, A or B?
Price is right. The price is right.
Price is right. Hey, Rob, what do you think?
Well, I already knew what it was.
I know. Okay, you win. But I'm just talking about this still shot. Who's got the advantage?
You know what's interesting about this is me personally. There are so many factors of ways I could have present to this, or how would I would and all. But I will say, let's see here. Presently, Rob has.
Yeah, you think Rob's got the advantage here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
You do have structure with the way that your elbow is bent, right?
I don't know, man. So
I don't know, man. This is tight. This is tight.
At it right now, and I'm looking at my mind's just going right now. I'm thinking well, Dan, if you would have done this,
that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
And then, but if I would see, so this is a beautiful thing, brother, that you have that and other martial has is you should be playing chess in your head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? If actually, it's kind of like if you told me a movement.
Yeah.
Like say we're just talking, right?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Yeah, go on.
So I'm not showing you, right? I'm not showing the movements. You're not showing me the movements. And you would have said to me, Rob, you know what? I would have came with a diagonal one stepping in at 180 degrees at you with my third hand coming into to the other side of your arm to bridge, right? Like to give y'all balance, right? Without showing me. Then I would say to you, okay, if you threw the diagonal one and you're at a with a downward grip, I would use my straight grip, okay, and I would have came in and come with a split entry going off left 45 right into your neck, something like that.
By the way,
right? But you see the chess. But you see how we're using more
Coach Danny Terrell, you are wrong. Tuhon Rob, you are wrong. By the way, this is how we should have FMA conversation.
Filipino, man.
We're just ball busting right now. You know why the guy on the left has the advantage? Okay, here's why. Let me present my case. Okay, this is why the guy on the left has the advantage. Oh, okay, Scott's here. Let me see. Guy on the right is on top and has a bit of gravity on his side. This is very neutral. Yeah. Guy on the right also has a full grip on the other guy's arm. Okay. Fine. That's good.
Hey, Scott.
Let me prove to you why you guys are all wrong and why I'm right. Hold on.
Really?
Hold on. Yeah, I'm right. The guy on the left has the advantage. If you think Tuhon Rob has the advantage in this still shot, you're absolutely wrong. Sounds like grocery shopping. Rob has stronger arm structure with his left versus Rob has the stronger arm structure with his left versus the other's arm. Yeah, okay. That's true. Okay, let me tell you guys now why you're all wrong and I'm right.
Maybe I might clear it. Let me clean it up.
Okay, go.
Think about this, right? This is powerful? Is this strong?
What is what?
This. If I do this, is it strong? Right? So the gentleman the other side is throwing me a downward knife by going a backhand by going down. Okay,
so this is an articulation problem, right? So
right.
Are humans naturally strong going inwards or going outwards.
That's correct.
Okay, that's a good question.
That's correct. So leverage wise, I have that advantage because I'm taking his leverage because it's a weak side.
Yeah, maybe. I'll tell you why you're all wrong, by the way, and why the guy on the left is at the advantage. I could be wrong, but usually I'm not. I'm just kidding.
You are.
Okay, I want you to think about the weak point of the grip in relation to the trajectory of the blade. Okay, so the weak point of the grip is here, right? It's not here. It's here. This is the weak point of the grip, where the escape route is, correct?
Okay, keep going.
Okay, well, we need to agree on that, and I think that's fairly basic.
Well, look at the blade, what we're holding in. That's the strongest grip you're going to carry in. That's a hammer grip, right? That's
okay. So, may I continue? Let me continue. Let's just assume that where it's not connected, that's the weak point in the grip. Okay, that's how you do grip breaks in jiu-jitsu and everything else. You attack the weak point of the grip. You don't attack the strong part, right? You attack the weak part of the grip. You don't go this.
Okay.
Right? This is the weak part. This is the weak part of the grip. They're here. Here, going up, you got this to deal with. This monkey grip.
Okay.
Down, you got that structure. This, fuck, I just punched myself in the face. Going this way, that's the weak point in the grip. So I want you to look at this photo right now. Rob, the guy on the right, his trajectory is going upwards against the strong part of the guy on the left's grip. The guy on the left is moving to his left towards the weak point of your grip, Rob. So the guy on the left has the advantage.
Okay, so
because you're trying to move up with your blade. I'm not saying you can't move around.
Correct.
Given the nature of what's happening now, you're trying to go up and you're meeting a fucking monkey grip.
Correct.
He's trying to go lateral and he's about to hit the weak point in your grip. Correct. And while you have structure, as Coach Danny alluded to, this way supporting, you don't have a lot of structure. You're gonna bend in, and he's gonna cut your midsection, or he's gonna cut low to your femoral artery. That's why I think
that's correct. So these are all correct, but
I'm more correct.
What is my primal intention? That's the question is, what was my intention? Wanted to grab the knife, because most if I grab the knife with his wrist, then we're gonna go into a wrestling match, no doubt. We're gonna go in a wrestling match. Then we're gonna go start doing all this. My intention is to get to the other side as fast as I can and just cut him. Right. That's the reason why in knife I don't like fighting inside. I don't. I just don't. I practically that's not my cup of tea.
Okay.
But that's the whole idea. My job is to go, and the intent is to go to the outside as possible and cut what I did. If you play the full video, right?
But we're not playing the full video. We know what happens in the full video.
But the goal is I don't want to control the blade. I don't want to control his knife. I don't even want to hold his knife. I want to get my knife to the closest advantage as possible to get my knife to his flesh before he tries to.
Okay. If we've got one chess move, then I'm right. If you guys are looking 2-3 steps ahead, then everybody else is right. Because that's what happens when we dissect a friggin' still shot.
That's why chess is a man's game.
You are so sexist, bro. This is fun. This is dope, man.
It's a gentleman's game. It is a gentleman's game.
Old man still can. I like this guy. Couldn't Rob redirect to a lateral strike? Yeah. Okay. So you're in the same line as Scott Walker and Danny Terrell. You guys are thinking 2 moves ahead, maybe 3 moves ahead. What if he does this and you do that? But I'm just thinking like this still shot right now, examining a 1-move play from here. I think the guy on the left's got it.
But this goes back to your statement when you said Wait. Let's go back to your statement, what you said about telegraphic. You were talking about if I was there and you got this lineman coming at you, got.
Damn it, Kelly. Hold on, stop. Kelly Warden is in the house and he's saying Scott is right. What the hell is happening? So, okay, I'm wrong. Who am I to argue with Datu Kelly Warden?
I mean, well,
I'm a nobody.
I can't.
We can't say shit now. And damn it, Scott's out there grocery shopping.
Oh, the tanks are
getting validated by a Datu. Look at you. Look how casual. I'm just gonna cut him right there and walk away. Gangster. Let me see if I can find another moment here. Oy. Yeah, we're back to this. Oh, what the hell is happening here? Oh, okay. What about this?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Who's got the advantage here? The guy on the left or the guy on the right? What are we doing, man? What are we doing with our lives? We are just dissecting. Honestly, I'm enjoying this. This is pretty high level. You there with me, Rob?
I'm here with you, brother. Yeah, all the way.
Is this one? Okay, let me get rid of this banner.
So I'll give you
because foot positioning here will matter.
I'll give you something here that this is very that wins in a fight, and I think maybe the men and women that are on here listening is actually this went back actually a platform that was an FMA discussion by Guru Dean, and the people that were on the platform talked about, and I think agree to on a lot, but the interview was with Lamont, Aaron Cole, and Maynard Anchenta, and this was before the interview. This was like the pre, and Maynard Anchenta, by the way, who was a PTK practitioner and very knowledgeable and educated man. He said that you got to have sensitivity. Okay, sensitivity wins in the fight.
Okay.
Now,
okay. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to stop you right there. You right there. Let's just look at this photo right now. And I want everybody to think again. Who has the advantage? I don't mean to cut you off. You're a wealth of knowledge, homie.
No. Remember, I said sensitivity. That's why I said there's men here.
Bro, sensitivity is overrated. Sensitivity is overrated. But let me get back to that. I need to go to the bathroom again. Who's got the advantage here? The guy on the left or the guy on the right? Talk amongst yourself. Okay, hold on. So it's like two people who are starting okay, hold on. This is crazy. Go ahead. What? That's crazy. That's who Kelly Warden and Scott, they're both shopping right now.
Yeah, Christmas, they got a couple of days out. They got to be on the road. I'm also going right now too. That's I'd say that's really I really to me that's really brilliant with of them like Scott and Datu, they're shopping action and how they can articulate putting in that
smart people, these two.
I love that. That's amazing. That's super awesome to see that.
Oh, damn it.
I
love arguing with this cowboy. He challenges me mentally. He can be a little bit stubborn sometimes. And he knows I'm always right, but still he argues. Anyway, I'll be back. You guys discuss. Who's got the advantage in this still shot, left or right?
You don't leave me, man. So I'll say, okay, we're sensitivity, right? So why it's it's part of a very important of when it comes in relation to fighting, whether boxing or Muay Thai, even jiu-jitsu and all, right? Sensitivity is really important. I think it's one of the most primal things that what actually beats in the fight. So for example, with Ruben now, he's at the restroom. If you look at my hand, which is my blade down here, he has his palm on the outside of my palm right here, right? Meaning he's putting pressure on my blade. So I use the energy by forcing the energy, by going in direct energy towards him, but allow him to push my energy to the opposite, to the clear, to the cut. Right? That's the whole purpose of that. That's why I just go in and pop, like, oh, okay, and I cut, right? Because that's an advantage that the person has because of that. Right? So if I try to go the opposite, it's not going to work.
Okay. Coach Daddy says again, structurally, Rob, dude on the right, for those of you guys who don't know, has the advantage as well as positional advantage with the angle. What? How does he have positional advantage here? I don't understand. Oh, I understand. Rob, what were you saying? You obviously you're going to say you have the advantage.
But sensitivity, he said it's overrated, and it's not.
Yeah.
Hated. You know,
no.
Jiu-jitsu, they use sensitivity. That's it. Without sensitivity, they will be people will be getting all gassed out, and they
okay. Can I explain why I think sensitivity training is overrated? Sensitivity training is overrated in striking arts. Obviously, it's at a premium for grappling arts when you're connected. But in striking arts, people spend an inordinate amount of time developing sensitivity when there is a disconnection between the two opposing forces. So I think people spend too much time being sensitive with striking arts. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it's important, but I just think that there's a disproportionate amount of time spent because there's a lot of sensitivity of this happening, and that's just.
Bro, boxing is sensitivity.
Well, yeah.
Look at a Muay Thai clinch. If you look at a Muay Thai clinch, that's
right. Agreed.
Striking arts.
Yeah, but what I'm saying isn't that sensitivity training isn't important, is that it's disproportionately trained for people who do striking arts.
No, it's not.
I mean, look, bro. I love boxing. I suck at it, but I love boxing.
Okay, what context are you speaking of striking arts? What context are you saying?
Let's look at the king of striking arts, boxing.
What? We just talked about that right now.
Okay, let me ask you this, right? If you went to a boxing academy, how much do you think they work on sensitivity compared to a Wing Chun or a JKD or
a lot?
No, they don't, man.
When they hug, when they grapple, or when they go in the tire, have you been in the tire where you're in the pocket?
Yeah, but that does not account for the majority of boxing training.
No, because if you look, they go from here, they bridge in, they come in, they roll. Right, they could feel
fair
shots.
Fair,
right?
But the sensitivity is the sensitivity is from connectivities that are completely different: head, shoulders, torso. The sensitivity training that's happening for strikers is like, listen, again. I am not disputing the value of sensitivity training. I just think that for people who practice and propose to be in striking arts, it's disproportionately trained versus power generation, timing, earning your angles, footwork, movement, all of those other things.
Correct. You're absolutely correct on what you're saying. That
it's important, but it's disproportionately trained.
It's disproportionately training. So it's how it's being taught. It's how it's being taught. That's where it comes down to. It's how it's being taught.
But I agree.
You know, like I guarantee you.
Look, even Coach Danny Terrell, who's a Wing Chun dude, in a way, kind of agrees. Working sensitivity should be done in the context it's used.
Right. As I said, that's what you said. It's being taught disproportional. But if you have men like Coach Danny and like Scott, right, they all know what to do and to teach that in the striking art.
I disagree.
I promise you, these gents will do it. Right.
Okay.
Anyways,
before I get myself in a hole, because I do love like these let's call them strange training methodologies, right? Like the different path up the mountain, so to speak. I do love that stuff. Only because I think I'm real with who I am and my condition and the dangers that I actually face out there and the kind of enjoyment that I get from doing these fun, dancey, sophisticated, elaborate, artful training. And if I can get, look, let me say this. If I can get 10% of the benefit from doing artful training versus 90% of the benefit for more direct training, given who I am, my circumstance, my condition, I'd rather get the 10% and enjoy the process and express myself through art than to develop, a skill that I may or may not use.
Right. But
I'm not a combat sport athlete. I'm not out there friggin' smashing gangsters all day.
But look what you've been doing at Bador. But look what you've been doing at Bador the whole time. Everything you're doing is what? Sensitivity. Everything.
Maybe emotional sensitivity. I love the boudoir. I love what we do here.
The boudoir, right? That's what you've been doing.
Yeah.
You're pressuring it, your sensitivity.
Actually, let me correct you there. The vast majority of the work that I do with Coach Steve Dinamo isn't sensitivity training. It's not. It's a part of it, but a vast majority of what we're doing is actually conceptually intercepting.
That's correct. And intercepting requires sensitivity.
No, it doesn't. It does not. At some point it does, but intercepting is the ability to calculate trajectory and to intercept it. So whether that's a parry in boxing, whether that's an appropriate block for knife defense, it isn't sensitivity training. We do that when we're grappling, when we're connected. Yes. But it's interception training.
It is part of the nucleus that you need to have in order to it's a substance in order to perform it what you do. You got to have sensitivity. You got to have strength. You got to have a bit of you got to have the. But it's one of the major of training of the drills that makes you a competent, not incompetent in your fighting, in your training. Absolutely.
Oh, damn it. Hold on. Sorry. I'm being pulled in a different direction here. But yeah, look, I get it. It's all important, right? And the amount of focus that we put on the thing that we put the amount of focus on is entirely dependent upon individual traits, right? And that can seem very like
that's called
postmodern. I can be whatever I want. Everything works. Nothing works. But it's just being realistic to the degree of which I want to enjoy what the fuck it is that I'm going to spend most time doing.
What you're talking about, being all what you're doing, that's called tailoring. So you tailor for you that fits you, right? But this whole other thing about like oh yeah, do this, do that. I think they take that, they don't understand that what you're saying of like, I can put a little bit, I think so. But tailoring is very, very important. It's that's what you're talking about. Like I take what's for me, I put it in, I take the 10% training the art because you tailor it. You tailor it to that.
Yeah. Like Scott writes, and I wouldn't even consider this sensitivity training. This isn't even sensitivity training, but I get what he's saying. In boxing, sensitivity comes from getting hit in certain defensive positions, which creates triggers for counters, right? I think that's more inoculation training and mindful repetition than it is sensitivity training, but I get the point. And I'm not saying it's not important. It's absolutely important.
Training on the fact that you're saying you're wrong. No. You're saying that it's. I think what happened was when I worded it and I said it, I made it sound like it's it. With no sensitivity, you cannot win in the fight. That's not true. That's
okay. I got another video for you.
All right.
Let's move on. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
It's fucking dope by the way, I had plans. I'm supposed to go now. Kind of enjoying this though. Let me give this another second. I want to show you another video. Tell me what the hell this shit is. Wait, do you guys want to hear it? Here. What are you seeing here? I mean, I know it says it right there, but what the hell is this? Let me go mute this now. Better with no audio. What are we looking at? What is this crap?
No,
More
it's
nonsense training.
crap, that's for sure.
What are you seeing?
There's a lot of good stuff as that you're presenting in here.
It's the same movement over and over again, really, and then some follow-ups. It's a freaking roof block. It's a roof block. It's like a roof block or an umbrella, whatever you want to call it. Over and over and over and over again.
I like what he was doing though, how he just kept on attacking you, right? Because it doesn't stop. But I think what I'm seeing in here more than anything is consistency. You know, it's like you're attacking and still attacking. I don't look at that as defending, by the way. You're attacking the attack. That's all you're doing. You're just coming in, and it's a powerful thing that the umbrella would offers, because even with the umbrella strike, it's also a power in attacking at the same time, countering movements. You know, I don't want to say it's not so much the defensive. You're actually like, see, the guy attacks you, you're like bam, bam, bam. But I see structure. I see a lot of backup mass, right? Because you see a guy with a long. Is that a kendo? Is that a kendo?
Yeah. It's a kendo training thing. It's heavy.
Joke. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just definitely putting in, like, this is like more heavy pressure, saying, you know, trying to, you know, using double force, right? Instead of using
sometimes double, sometimes single.
And you know when to use double, because it makes sense. If you got a kendo sword, you're going to use double force.
Yeah. Man,
but
this
is really good. I mean, there's no. You know.
Yeah, I think what this is just addressing a common attack and a common defense.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, in Filipino martial arts, man, people kind of neglect how important it is, because it's so easy to roof block. It's so easy to do an umbrella block, but people don't challenge the different ways that it comes, and at the different strengths it comes, at the different speeds, the different timing, offset timing.
Right.
And they don't explore like immediate follow-ups. Not they, man. There's a lot of people who do could.
I think, you know what's the beauty about with your, I think that you said this in a couple platforms, is that you said that a lot of those don't tend to find their vulnerability. So when you come in here, you actually execute to find your vulnerability. You have no shame showing your vulnerability.
No, it's freaking stick fighting and knife, man.
Right, but
we're all vulnerable. Anyone who says they aren't is just
that's
lying.
the beauty, right? You're going in there, and you know, you're just showing your vulnerability, right? By showing find the weaknesses of it, right? And then you see it, and you're like, oh, let me fix. Let me. What did they do wrong in there? You know, and because of that, a lot of these martial artists out here, that's a hard thing to do, Rubio. That's a very, very hard thing to do for a man to go out there to show their vulnerability, to show their failure.
Bro, this is what I want for FMA, man. Because honestly, okay, this is what this is, right? What's the most common attack? It's in stick fighting, in sword fighting, in any, you know, weapons fighting. It's this friggin' attack.
Yeah.
What's this most solid defense we have? It's that roof block.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's reinforced.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's deflected. Sometimes it's absorbed. Right?
Yeah.
And then what's the most important thing is to immediately attack right back. Right? This is, Scott says, keeping the weapon moving. Right?
Right. That's it. You just keep
it's one motion. It's like boom. There's no time in between. It's like that boxing drill where you're like catching the jab and you're delivering your own jab, sometimes simultaneously, sometimes at a half beat, sometimes even less.
Hey,
Coach Danny says, you know, you're responding to a stimulus different from where your initial focus is. That's
and I like how
I get it. I get that too. I never really considered that point.
Yeah.
Actually.
And you really look at the attack, like, you know, I like how your partner. Who's your partner over here, by the way? Is it Steve
Dinamo? Yeah.
Dinamo. I noticed that what's great about this is that, you know, he still continued hitting you. It doesn't stop. Just because you do one blow, one strike doesn't mean it's an end. So I like how you.
Well, there's
right.
So I mean, I don't stop.
Right. but it's see like that right there. Like,
Oh
it's,
yeah. Sometimes, yeah, he never lets me sleep. Sometimes he'll hit me
good,
and I'll leave it out there.
you
Other
know.
times it's like boom, and another one's coming. I just never know.
So meaning, in other words, like, the fight doesn't end. The fight continues. It continues.
Yeah.
You got to finish the fight until that person.
Yeah.
This is a mindset that you've been developing.
I just think it's basic. It's basic shit, man. This is the most common attack we face. We should work pretty damn hard on the most basic defense for it and the most basic counter. The thing is, like in FMA, there is this want to go for the next thing, and because the angle one is easy to learn, the roof block is easy to learn, we don't seek to challenge these things. It's like,
well,
you know what I hear from old school boxing coaches and old school boxers, they're still working on their jab.
Right. Well,
day one technique.
That's correct. But here's the problematic to this with martial artists, right? They want to keep it authentic. We're talking about preserve. Remember about preserve, right? We were talking about preserve, and they want to keep it authentic. So they want. That's to them. That's not authentic. To them, that's not preserve. They want to use the actual, like, from the 50th technique, and they want to do it in the sequence of this motion, which is not going to happen. But I did say, if you take the components of one strike, which is the umbrella, that's all you need. Or the other part where you did the circular and you did this reverse two, that reverse two would have came from, I'm going to make this up, the 19th movement in Pekiti Tirsia. See that? Right. But because of that you say it's so simple, but you got to understand about martial artists, right? It's a mindset, right? They want to keep it authentic. If they do something, that's not in the system. That's wrong.
Sure.
Used it, right?
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
You think a boxer can beat a karate guy with just a jab? You think if that boxer's jab is so good, he can absolutely dominate a fight with a karate guy who knows 200 techniques?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so too.
Absolutely. If he's been working that jab, and you know how
I think so too.
Connection, and you just get that stiff, like, done.
I think so too.
Done.
And I think while I love the art and the sophistication of the Filipino martial arts, don't forget your jab, man. Don't forget your 1-2, bro.
Now, mind you, though, there's some really good karate. Have you seen the Kyokushin karate guys?
Yeah.
Okay, those guys are trained to. They go kumite fighting. Okay, and they have strength and conditioning, strengthen their necks, just to strengthen their spinal, in a fight and everything in the kumite fight. Yeah, I don't know. So if you had a boxer with a Kyokushin karate guy that does 100 kumite fights, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's a different conversation. It's a different. I get it. It's a different.
But yeah, your point is, yes, absolutely. If you throw a jab against a karate guy, and the karate guy has never trained the body as a boxer body, and the step, yes, absolutely.
Can an FMA noob who dedicates the angle one and the roof block beat somebody who's been training Pekiti Tirsia for 20 years trying to learn the system of Pekiti Tirsia? 100% Yes. 100%. A noob who can master the angle one in the roof block and everything associated with it, body angling, timing, precision, accuracy, footwork, he can smash a Pekiti Tirsia guy who's been training for 20 years trying to learn the ins and outs of the art. Easy.
He's been perfecting that. He's not trying to get like 20, 30. He's just been focusing on, and that's been working him for his whole life. Like, why would you change it? If that's
easy.
It's been
right. And I think this is the kind of shift that we need in Pekiti Tirsia, is that we've sort of lost, like everyone wants to, I mean, there's so many cool things about Pekiti Tirsia. It's trained by the armed forces, blah, blah, blah. I think Tuhon Jared is one of the best ambassadors for, the tactical application of Pekiti Tirsia concept, distilled specific to the people who are calling on him for that work. But I think when people latch on to the idea that Pekiti Tirsia is a combative art, they kind of sometimes lose their way in that it's the frigging simplicity of it and the mastery of very few concepts. Because oftentimes mastery of Pekiti Tirsia is attached with some sort of pursuit of as much knowledge of it as possible.
Mhm.
And so my proposition is like you can be a Pekiti Tirsia master just knowing a handful of things, knowing it really, really well. So I think we need to shift that a little bit, you know?
I believe so, but again, that's that vulnerability, man. Is can a person really, put it out there? It's kind of like when I went to the PTTA, right? It was Sunday, and I get tapped in the shoulder, like, "Hey, man, can you go in there and spar?" Yeah, sure, no problem. What's up? When I was into the thing,
seriously, roof
yeah,
block,
right?
block angle one, roof block angle
So,
one. But the timing required for that takes a lifetime. You're never gonna get it perfect.
When I was at the PTTA, and I got asked that Sunday, "Hey, can you go under spar this guy?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Yeah. Second round, went second time, third time, fourth time. Why? Because I had nothing to lose. Why? I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna fight, and I'm not thinking about like I'm gonna go in there and try to.
Yeah, you're a weird one, bro. Because prior to that PTTA Shark Tank, you hadn't sparred in like 10 years or something, right?
No,
but you fucking did amazing.
I hadn't sparred since like 1992.
Yeah, and then you go into the PTTA and you get into a whole bunch of fights, and so I think you bring hope to people who don't spar, and I don't want them to get it twisted because you're so dedicated to the technicalities and the intricacies of the art of Pekiti Tirsia, and that's why I think you're able to do so well, even after not having sparred for such a long time. I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
No, of course not. No.
Because it's so easy to go, "Oh, I don't look at Tuhon Rob. He didn't spar for 10 years and he did incredibly well." It's like, no, motherfucker, spar, bro.
No. Sparring definitely sees your character. It tests your character. It's very, very important. It's one of the most important things to really better benefit you, better yourself. As an artist and as also an athlete. I cannot say there's nothing more truth than sparring. That's just what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But not the end all be all.
No, it's not. It's not. And again, I want to respect the purists who say there are artificialities in sparring. You are armored. You are protected. Blah, blah, blah. Those are all valid. They're valid. We will never recreate the fear of death in an artificial condition such as a sparring match or even a pressure test.
That's just like saying when I was in the military, right? This militaristic, mindset. Yeah, you go to simulation training sites like NTC National Training Center, Fort Polk, Louisiana, and there's so much you can do to prepare you for war.
Yeah, they're not actually trying to kill you and shooting you with the real bullets. Either.
Yeah, but then it's just a tiny percentage to get you ready for something.
Yeah.
No matter how much you train, but once you get into the battlefield, everything kind of goes out the door. Now it's all instincts now. Now it's all about
Sure. And we've heard of highly trained soldiers who, get in the fetal position and piss themselves in their first firefight. Like we hear of that.
Sorry about that.
That happens.
But man, this was great. This was a great show.
This is awesome. This was a dope conversation. I appreciate you. And thank you. These freaking comments, man. This has been really good. There weren't that many, but it's freaking high quality, man.
No, we got 5 equals 100. So we had what? Scott,
yeah, bro. Yeah. We had Tim Rivera earlier on. We had Kali Doug in the house. Ty representing Modern Arnis, Tim Rivera. Yeah, it's dope. Yeah, this conversation was
Patrick, Brian.
Yeah, Sparnando. Yeah, I just loved it, man. I really appreciated this.
Yeah. I appreciate
Thank you
so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Sometimes you call me and I'm just like, man, this is going to be a long conversation. And then other time I'm like, I'm down. This is like 2 hours. We've been on this friggin' podcast and then we had talked beforehand. But it's good to do this once in a while. I appreciate everybody who commented, who chimed in. There's nothing like a live feed, man. So.
No, not like a live feed. It's it's all about timing too. I know you've been watching you and you're on your stride, and it's like, what? Give him a call. And I'm working on, me as myself, and I learned a lot of things. It's like, I'm not gonna bug this man, what's that?
I'm codifying my shit I'm actually putting in the effort, writing out modules, writing out. Here, I'll let you guys know, right? I think when people want to train the bladed arts, I think there's a huge subsection of people who are like me. We're not incredibly disciplined. We're not like your traditional martial artist who like just constantly put in the work and are disciplined and dedicated. I think there's a huge subsection of people like me who are just trying to balance it with the rest of who they are, right? Like I'm a very curious person. I'm an explorer. I have a job. I've got 2 kids. I've got responsibilities. So the thing that I'm trying to codify here, I'm writing out training modules. Each module is only 5 videos long, and they're very specific. Like one module is, 2 strike combos in the reverse grip.
Perfect.
2 strike combos in the reverse grip. That's one module, and it's 6 videos long. Now, am I going to miss stuff? Am I going to miss the nuance? Am I going to have to omit important information? Yeah. It's not going to be complete. It's not Pekiti Tirsia. But hopefully I created a module that's 5 to 8 videos long, all about 2 strike combinations in the reverse grip. And you'll just get good at that stuff. It might be something that you actually end up training. And if you fall in love with it, then go to PTI, then go to PTTA, then go to iCali, go to, a combatives program, Sheepdog, Jerry, Wetzel, a whole bunch of these other combative dudes, Mick Coop, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I think that there's a gap to be bridged between the people who are like, oh, that's a cool Instagram video. I can do that one video. And holy crap, this is a lot of work. I think that middle ground is where I naturally and authentically fit in. Like I can teach you how to get good with 2 strike combos in the reverse grip.
This martial arts means it's hard work. That's what Kung Fu means, hard work.
Yeah, I'm not down with that. I want, but I also don't want like easy and lying. Like all you got to do is this, and you'll be good. I'm like, hey man, I can teach you 2 strike combinations in the reverse grip, but a wrestler will have something to say about that. A Muay Thai guy with a solid teep is gonna fuck you up. I'm just gonna be honest with it. You can be can be good all day long with 2 strike combos in the reverse grip with a knife. Doesn't mean you're gonna be any good. Yeah, that's what I want to teach people.
Yeah, and we're in a different time now, and this is a time to you need to teach something now, now. Yeah. Hey, my brother.
Yo,
thanks so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you again to everybody.
I appreciate you, and
all right.
Keep doing what you're doing, and it's great to be on your show, and definitely we'll talk some more, brother.
Appreciate you, homie.
Appreciate you. Peace, brother.
All right. Okay, that was dope. Yeah, thank you guys. Wow, I did 2 of these live feeds a day. I super duper appreciate it. And hey, for the people who have been watching my journey, I've fallen many times. I've fucked up a whole bunch of times. I made a whole lot of mistakes, said things I shouldn't have said, didn't say things I should have said, associated with certain people I should have associated with, and didn't associate with people that I should have associated with. But it's a motherfucking process. You know what I'm saying? I'm not done exploring this Filipino martial arts thing. But in the meantime, if you've been following the journey, I super appreciate it. Thank you very much. I know some people watch me to see me fall, but I also know that there's a whole lot of people out there who encourage this process and who appreciate the transparency of this process, good, bad, and the ugly. And to those people, thank you so much. Thank you for the private messages. Thank you for the public messages. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the criticism and the skepticism. And sometimes you need to slap me in the ass or in the face and be like, wake the fuck up. What are you doing? But I appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you. I'll end it with this. Still, to this day, the dopest intro, outro in all of FMA podcast land. Thank you for watching. Peace.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go.
You're finished. No.
Get up. Get up. Gotta wake up, bitch. Get up.
Oh.
Get up. Get up.